Hello everyone. Hi, this is Farheen with you again. And today I am going to teach you some easy methods to find the squares of 2 and 3 digit numbers. So are we ready? Let's go.
Alright, so let's start. So first what I'd like to tell you here is that ideally you must know the squares of the numbers starting from 1 till 25. Okay, because although I will show you a method to even find this in a faster way, but it's always better if you know it at the tip of your tongue, because it is going to help you for the bigger calculations. Alright, so it's always good to know the squares up to 25. Then I'm going to show you nearly 3 methods of finding squares, and you can follow either all of them in different kinds of situations or numbers, and or you can choose the one which suits you best. Okay, so let's start with the first one. In the first one, the first method says finding squares of numbers between 26 to 75 and 76 to 125. So in the first case, where the number is between 26 and 75 and you have to find a square of it, what you do is that the answer that you're going to get, we assume that the answer that you're going to get is going to be nearly a 4-digit number. It could even be a 3-digit number, but if at all it is a 3-digit number, we'll put a 0 in the first place, which doesn't make any difference to the actual answer. Okay, so now when we have a 4-digit number here, okay, we put like this. This is just to show you the algorithm, how we are going to go about in the examples, and you will know it a little bit more clearer when I come to an example. So firstly, let's say that the number is n and we have to find a square of that number. So the first step to get the first 2 digits is that you just subtract 25 from that number. Okay, the moment you subtract 25 from that number, you get the first 2 digits of your answer. Then the next step is to subtract 50 from the number, and then you square the answer, and that gives you the last 2 digits of your answer. That's how simple it is. But mind you, this is an algorithm for the number which falls between 26 and 75. The squares of such numbers can be found out through this algorithm. So let's do this with an example. So the first example that I've taken here is 35. Okay, so first what we do is put 4 spaces here. Okay, the answer is going to be either a 4-digit number or it's going to be a 3-digit number. Okay, because like in my multiplication video I had told you that it is basically we are doing 35 square, which means that it is 35 times 35, which is a 4-digit in the question. So either the answer is going to be 4 digits or it's going to be one less than that. All right, so that's the logic. Now after you do this, let's divide this into 2. Okay, the first 2 digits and the last 2 digits. So what's the trick for the first 2 digits? We saw here it is n minus 25, which means it is 35 minus 25, which is how much? 10. Okay, 35 minus 25 is 10, so we put here 10, 1 0. Okay, now the next step is to find the last 2 numbers, and it's going to be n minus 50 squares, which is 35 minus 50, and you square it. So basically it's going to be 15 square, which as you can see is 225. That's the reason I told you should remember at least the basic ones. Okay, so it's 225. 25 we put here, and the 200, the 2 is carry over. Now we have to just add it, so it becomes 1 2 2 5. So 1225 is our answer here for 35 square. Okay, let's do another one. Now the next example that I'm going to take is, let's say, 28. Okay, so now again we put 4 spaces here, and then we do the first part, which is 28 minus 25, which is 3, so we put a 0 3 here, and then we have the next step, which is going to be 28 minus 50, and you square it. Okay, so 28 minus 50 is basically 22 square. All right, so 22 square, and 22 square is, as you can see here, 22 square is 484. So you put an 84 here and you carry over the 4, and now you have to just add, which makes it 784. So that is 28 square. All right, now our last example, let's take a little tougher one. Let's say it's 73 square. Okay, so again the 4 spaces, 1 2 3 4, and then you have then you have the first part and the second part. All right, in the first part it is 73 minus 25. Okay, 73 minus 25 is supposed to be 48, is 48, and then you have 73 minus 50, and you square it, which is supposed to be 23 square. So 23 square, as you can see here, is 529. So you put a 29 here and you carry over the 5, so which makes it 5329. So that's your answer. So this was the first method. All right, now let's go to the second method. So now the second part of the first method is to find the squares of the numbers between 76 to 125. All right, in this case we have the algorithm here, which says to find the first 2 digits, it says you have to do n minus 100 plus n, and in the second part it says it's n minus 100 and the whole square. So let's take the first example to know this one. So our first example, let's say it's 85. So again you have 4 spaces here, you put 4 spaces here, and then you do the first part and then the second part. All right, in the first part you have 85, which it says here n minus 100 plus n. So 85 minus 100 plus 85. So 85 plus 85 is basically 170. So 170 minus 100, which is supposed to be 70. Okay, so our first 2 digits are 70. Then we come to the second part. The second part says that it's n minus 100 whole square, so which is 85 minus 100 whole square, which is supposed to be minus 15 square. So the square for 15, as you can see here, is 225. Okay, so you can put the 25 here and you carry over the 2, so your answer is 7225. Okay, then you come to the second part. The second part is the second example. Let's take this second example to be 79. Okay, again you have 4 spaces here, and then you go first one and the second part. Okay, so the second part is 79 minus 100 plus 79. Okay, so you can do it here. 79 plus 79 is 158, and minus 100, which is 58. Okay, and then the second part is 79 minus 100 whole square, which is supposed to be 21 square. So 21 square, you can see here, is 441. So you put the 41 here and you carry over the 4. So our final answer is 6241. Okay, that's the final answer. Okay, just to make you comfortable, let's do one more example. Okay, and then you have one. Okay, now we are going to take an example of a 3-digit number here, but it has to be below 125, right? So 109, let's take 109, and you put 4 spaces here. Okay, and you can even put 5 spaces here, because it's a 3-digit number times a 3-digit number, so the answer is going to be a 5-digit number. But I don't want to confuse you here, so we will just do these 4 spaces and follow the same rule. So it's the first part is here and the second part is here. Okay, so the first part, in the first part we do 109 minus 100 plus 109. So 109 plus 109 is 218 minus 100, which is supposed to be 118. Okay, so we put the the first two digits in the first place itself, and we do this. All right, and now we have to do the second part. So it is supposed to be 109 minus 100, and the square for this one, which is supposed to be 9 square, which is 81. So we put the 81 here. Okay, so our answer is 11881. Easy. Now let's do one more 3-digit example so that you can become an expert at this. So it's 115, and then you have again 4 spaces. So you do the first part and then you do the second part. The first part is 115 minus 100 plus 115, and then you have okay, let's do this one first. So this is 230 minus 100, which is supposed to be 130. Okay, so we have 130 here. Then the next part is 115 minus 100 and square, which is supposed to be 15 square. 15 square is 225. So we have 2 5 here, and we carry over the 2, so which makes our answer 13225. That's how easy the method is. Okay, so this was the first method. Now let's go and see the second method. Now our second method says that you can square 2 and 3-digit numbers using this method. So first we go and find out the squares for 2-digit numbers. So it says here, if you have a number which is n, and you have to find a square of it, and so we can assume n is a 2-digit number, right? So it is let's say the tens place and the units place. Okay, so if this is the representation of that number, t and u the whole square, then what we do first is we square the t square in the, let's make 3 spaces, and then you have t square. Okay, the first part is t square, the second part is u square. You square the units digit as well and you put it here. Okay, and then the part to find the middle term is you multiply the tens and the units and the 2, all 3 together. All right, this square, the 2, we have to multiply it. So 10 times the unit times the 2, so we get an answer here. Okay, this is just a representation, but you can always have a carry over for the units, which comes here, and then a carry over for this, which goes here, so that we can always do in an example. So let's see. That's the first one. So the first part is the first, let's take an example which is 23 square. Okay, so first we have 3 spaces here. Okay, because again 23 times 23, it's a 4-digit number, question. So with the answer would be at least 3 digits, or it could even be a 4-digit number. All right, so let's put 3 digits here. And now the first part is, what is the first part? It says t square, and then you do u square. So t square, which is tens digit, is 2. 2 square is 4, and 3 square is 9. So this, we found out the first and the last digit. Now the next part we have to do here is 2 times 2 times 3 times 2. Okay, 2 times 3 times 2. So 2 times 3 times 2. 2 3 are 6, 6 2 are 12. So 12 is supposed to be the thing here. So we put the 2 here and we carry the 1, which makes it 529. That's our answer. Now let's take another example. Let's say we take 41. Okay, in case of 41, again the 3 spaces, then you do the t square, which is 4 4s are 16, and then you have the 1 square, which is 1, and then the next part, sorry, this was a square, yeah. So now the next part is 4 times 1 times 2. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and so this is 1681. So our answer is going to be 1681. That's the answer. Okay, now let's take the third example, which is, let's say, 98 square. Okay, in case of 98 square, again the same thing, you make the 3 spaces. Okay, after you make the 3 spaces, it's like the h square, which is supposed to be 9 times 9, which is 81, and then you have to do the 8 square, which is 8 times 8 is 64. You put the 4 here and you carry over the 6. Okay, and the last part that you have to do here is 9 times 8 times 2. So 9 times 8 is 72, times 2 is 144. So 144 plus 6 is 150. So you have a 0 here and you carry the 1 and the 5 here, which makes your answer 8 plus 1 9, 5 plus 1 6, and 0 and 4. So 9604 is your answer. Okay, now let's come to the part which shows you the same method but in a 3-digit number. It's almost the same thing, only difference being that you see here n square is equal to hundreds, tens and units whole square. Okay, which is, now we consider h as one number and tu as one number, one entity. All right, so and you do the same thing that you did here, so which is like h square in the first place, and then the tu square in the second place, in the last place, and in between you do h times tu times 2, which is the same method, only thing is that you're combining the 2 digits here. Okay, so let's take the first example for this one. Okay, in what kind of example can we take here? Okay, maybe we can take 320 to make a easier one before. Let's do this. Okay, so how many digits here? Okay, now you have to remember that it's a 3 digits times a 3 digits, so at least your answer is going to be a 5-digit number. It could even be a 6-digit number. Okay, so 5 digits here. Okay, then the first part, h square, which is 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, and then you have a 20 square, which is 400. So you put the 0 and the 0 here and you carry the 4. Okay, and now the next part is to, this is a square, so next part is to do 3 times 20 times 2. Okay, so 3 times 20 times 2, which is 3 times 20 is 60, 60 times 2 is 120, and the 4 here, so it's 124. So you put the 24 here and the 1 here, so your answer is 102800. That's your answer. Now let's do the second one. The second example can be 215 square. Okay, in 215 square, again you have 5 spaces here. Okay, and the first part is 2 square, which is 4. The second part is 15 square, which is 225. So you put the 25 here and you carry the 2. And then the next part is to do 2 times 15 times 2. Okay, 2 times 15 is 30, 30 times 2 is 60, 60 plus 2 is 62. So your answer is 46225. Okay, now let's take one more example to make you comfortable. Okay, so here we have 812. Okay, so in 812 again you do 1 2 3 4 5, then 8 times 8 is 64. You have 64, and then you have sorry, not here, so you're supposed to be writing 64 here, and then you have 12 times 12, which is 144. So you write the 44 here and you carry the 1, and then your last thing to be done is 8 times 12 times 2, so which is 8 times 12 is 96, 96 times 2, 96 times 2 is 192. So 192 plus 1, which makes it 193. Okay, it makes it 193, and so your final answer would be 659344. Okay, so that's your answer. Now we have done the second method as well. So now the next job is to, okay, so this is the first method, we have done it. Second method, let's see what the third method says. Okay, now the third method here says, don't get too boggled with the
formulas here. It's too easy. Just don't worry, I'll explain it to you in a very easy manner. Okay, the thing says here that finding squares of 2-digit numbers. Okay, if the number is n, let's say that the number is n and you have to find n square. Okay, so what do you do first? You add or subtract to find the closest number whose square is easy to calculate. Okay, we'll do an example, you'll know that. So whatever you add or subtract is x. Let's consider it to be x. So we have to do n plus n minus x. All right, n plus n minus x. So one number we get n plus x is one number and n minus x is another number. Now the n plus x and the n minus x have to be multiplied. That answer has to be added to the square of the number that you had subtracted and added. Okay, don't think it's too complicated. I'll show you the way to do this one. Okay, let's see. Okay, which example should we take here? I think we can go with the let's say a 19. Okay, so the first example we take here is 19 square. Okay, so first you have n here, which is 19. Now let's find the number which is closest whose square we know. So you think it's 20? Yes, so it is 20. Okay, so how much did we add to 19 to make it 20? We added 1. Okay, so what you have to do here is, because you added 1, the next part you have to do is you subtract 1 from this same number, which makes it 19 minus 1, which is 18. Okay, so the first part is you did plus and minus x, which you have already done here. So your plus and minus x, the numbers are 20 and 18. Now what do we have to do? We have to multiply these two numbers. Okay, which is 20 times 18, which is equal to, you see the multiplication is also very easy here because we've taken a number which ends with 0. So 18 times 2 is 36 and you put a 0, so it's 360. Okay, now you have 360. All you have to do is you add the x square. Our x here is 1 because we had just added 1. So you add 1 square to this, which is 361. Okay, so that's our answer. See, it isn't as complicated as it looks here. Okay, it's really easy. Now let's take another example. The next example is 27. Okay, so you put a 27 here, and then which is the nearest one? I think if you add 3, you can make it 30. Okay, and if you subtract 3, it becomes 23. Sorry, 24. Right? So it becomes 24 here. So the next step we have to do here is do 24 times 30, which is equal to 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 2 is 6, and 7. So 72. Okay. So 72 and the 0 here, so it's 720. And the next we do is we add 3 square, x square, to this number. 3 square is 9, so our answer is 729. Okay, let's take one more example to do this. So the next example is 83. Okay, we take 83 here. We have to find the square of this number. So 83, and what can we do? Instead of adding this time, we are going to subtract 3 to make it closer to the number that is rounded. Okay, so that is 80, which is 80, and if you add 3, it becomes 86. Okay, the next step is to find 86 times 80. Okay, now 86 times 80 is equal to 688, and the 0 here, so we put the 0 here. And now the next part is to add the x square, which is 3 square. Add 3 square, which makes it 6889, because 3 times 3 is 9, and you add it here and it becomes 6889. So that's your answer. So now we have completed all the 3 methods, and you can see they are all really easy. And at times we need to choose the method that we want, because there could be some numbers, for example, if it's between 26 and 75, you can use this method as well. You can also use this method for a 2-digit number, and for some 3-digit numbers you can use this. Otherwise you can just go for this one.
Okay, and there is also this method, which is again for 2-digit numbers.
So basically, whatever makes you comfortable, you can do that. You can practice all the 3 methods so that you become an expert at all of them, and then you can, the moment you see the question, you'll be able to decide which one is better. That was easy, yeah? I'll keep coming to you with such interesting concepts in the future as well. Until then, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.